And we'll learn about two of them in this module, in the 3 weeks of this module. And these two industrial union federations, the first was the Knights of Labor, which was created in 1869 and lasted to the late 19th century. And then in the early 20th century, another industrial union called the Industrial Workers of the World. And they, in fact, were the union that the workers in Paterson in 1913 allied with when they went on strike. So both of these federations lasted for some time. They won many important victories for their workers, but because of the many obstacles that they faced, they did not last more than a couple decades each. So the second important topic that you need to think about as you go over the material for this module is industrial unionism, what it meant, what the obstacles were, what the important representatives of industrial unions were in New Jersey. As you learn about the strike and as we visit Paterson, there are several important things. There are several reasons why we study this, and we'll certainly be talking about those more in the later modules. But one of the important points is how and to what degree the union in Paterson was able to overcome the ethnic differences among the workers in Paterson in 1913. One of the main things that employers had used to defeat unions in the past was by appealing to ethnic differences. They might favor one ethnic group over another, make a settlement with one ethnic group, give preferred jobs to a different ethnic group, and so on. And in this way try to divide the workers, and once the workers were divided, the employer really had a free hand after that. But in Paterson in 1913, for 5 long months, the rank and file workers in that union and the IWW activists that helped to coordinate it really pushed and emphasized the need for cross-ethnic solidarity, solidarity among the whole working class of Paterson and its environs. Eventually, the skilled native-born workers were able to be split off from some of the other ethnic groups, and so after 5 months, a couple of these different groups started going back, and once one group went back and the solidarity was broken, then it was just a matter of time, and not too much time, until the strike was over. And as I said, the workers did succeed in keeping the introduction of the greater number of looms per worker. They kept that from being introduced, which the manufacturers had been trying to do. So they did win some of their demands, but they certainly did not have the big victory that the IWW and the workers had in Lawrence the year before. The final topic I want to discuss for this module is the vast range of obstacles and difficulties that workers had in forming unions at this period in American history. There were many cases in which companies got judges to issue injunctions to end strikes. There were many cases in which unions were charged with being illegal conspiracies. Companies and their allies in government used a wide range of weapons to attack and destroy unions before they even really got off the ground. When workers went on strike, sometimes the state militias were brought out to break up the strikes, as in 1877. Companies themselves hired private detective agencies. These detective agencies provided labor spies that infiltrated new unions. They provided thugs to beat up people on picket lines. And so it was people were really taking a chance when they went on strike at this time. It was a real testimony to both the oppressiveness of the conditions that they worked under and their dedication to their cause. In one of the worst examples of these tactics, the media, the government, and companies all got together to create a wave of mass hysteria in the country against unions and radicals. The union activists were portrayed as crazy radicals. This culminated in what's been called the first Red Scare of 1919 and 1920. The Attorney General, A. Mitchell Palmer, orchestrated raids against radical unions in particular and the industrial workers of the world. They deported many of the members, often without trial. They attacked and broke up the offices of the IWW. And by the mid-1920s, the IWW was only a shell of its former self. So as you do the readings and view the videos for this module and go on the site visit, be aware of the various obstacles that workers had to overcome. And these obstacles certainly included all these external tactics that I just alluded to, and they also consisted of the problems of uniting a very diverse working class across ethnic, racial, gender, skill differences. But despite all these obstacles, there were many advances by labor during the period that we're looking at. Finally, I'd just like to say a word about the site visit for this module. We'll all be visiting Paterson because of the importance of the site and because of all the buildings and the falls and all the other parts of the city that still remain. In many cases, the evidence of previous times is gone, but in Paterson, most of these examples of the past still exist. So we'll visit the Great Falls, where Alexander Hamilton decided to build his first industrial city. We'll visit the Paterson Museum that has examples of the machinery used in the old factories and many other interesting things. We'll tour the factory district, look at many of the old mills. We'll even see the bar that the IWW leaders met in to plan their strategies. And we'll visit the Maria and Pietro Botto's house in Haledon, where the strikers gathered to hear speakers like Elizabeth Gurley Flynn and Big Bill Haywood. And we'll actually get to go out on the balcony that they went on to address the strikers.